Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I wanted to say hello to some of my new subscribers because I've gotten quite a few new subscribers. My name's Candy, and today we are going to be doing a horror dessert tablescape. So I have quite a few things already prepped, and I wanted to show you how I'm going to be setting up and how I made some of these things. Now, to give you some context, I used to be a cake decorator, so I have like well over 15 years in experience with actual cake decorating. So when I was creating this, I actually was thinking like if I was to actually make this in real life. So I think it's going to be extremely creepy, but cute at the same time, hopefully. So the theme is horror slasher movies. And these happen to be my favorite personal horror slasher movies. Now, if you're not someone who's into like gory or Halloween stuff, I totally get that. But this is, I like all spectrums of Halloween. I like the family friendly to the scary. So anyway, so the first one here, this one is going to be a Scream bundt cake. And I made like this little platter out of cardboard, most things out of cardboard. And I painted it black, and then I painted silver, and then I had blood drippings that I used puffy paint. And this is the black bundt cake I made. That's going to go right here. And then I'm going to be using white puffy paint to drip, around. And then I will be putting Ghostface within, once it dries, Ghostface face within the drips that I think will be cool. And I will be making another one showing you how I did that with this one, because this one is going to have knife pops, cake pops, that's going to sit on top of this. And I actually put a toothpick inside. And so the actual cake pop is made out of air dry clay. It dried. Then I I painted it red, and then I dipped it in gloss Mod Podge, so it gave it that very shiny look. And then with the knife, I cut it out, which I have the other 5 here. I found an image, and then I cut it out. And then to make the knife look more realistic, I painted silver. And then I cut the tip off so it looked like it was stuck into the cake pop. Okay, and those are the Micheal Myers cake pops. That's why I have the little pumpkin to represent Micheal Myers. And then we have the Jason cake. And this is a mask, a mini mask I made for my little mini self that I'm going to just temporarily put on top of this Jason cake. So I cut out a slice, so it looks like this. And I didn't have any red Model Magic, I just had orange. So I let that dry, and then I painted it red, and then the outside white because of cream cheese frosting. And then I place it on a plate here. And so I'm going to do the same thing where I paint this all white, the inside red. So this is red velvet cake. And then I'm going to drip blood drops around to drip on the side, drip on the side, let that dry, and then I will put the Jason mask on. Now, if I was really going to make this mask in real life, I would use fondant to make the mask, and obviously just making a red velvet cake, doing cream cheese frosting. And then for the drips, the one thing I used to do when I would do like Halloween or gory is I would take caramel and put red food coloring, and it would make very much a realistic looking blood, like it looked like blood, but it's not. Very tasty. And then we have our cake tier here that I'm going to finish making. And I made everything silver because I wanted to look industrial and because it looks more creepy, in my opinion. So I am going to be painting all of these tier. This is going to be the tier I've made out of cardboard. In the middle is just a wooden, I don't know what these are supposed to be. I just found these at the craft store and thought they look so cool. And this is going to be all silver. So the theme is like silver, red, white, black, you know, those colors. Okay. And then for our last slasher film is Chucky, the doll. So this is going to have the most color, which I think is going to really add to making this look more creepy, because on its own it looks like it would be just some cute cupcakes, which they are, but with everything in it, it's just going to be really creepy. I also printed out "Wanna Play," which is a line that Chucky says in the movie, and I pre-made cupcakes. So I wanted to really look like you know, a paper cupcake. So I had some cardstock where I just cut out a very thin piece of paper, and I'm going to be showing all this. I had my paper that was pre-measured and pre-drawn. But anyway, so anyway, I rolled out. I should probably go ahead and see if I can do that now. So I just got my ruler, and I wish I knew what I did with the one I pre-did. Okay. It's okay. I just lose things. That's just me. And I just like to make it as thin as I can because it's got to be little cupcakes. And then I just cut out this whole strip. That way I can make as many paper cupcakes as I can. And I will show you other methods I tried. That was okay, but I end up liking this final result. So what I did is I just take the end of my paintbrush and then I just roll it and then just use a little bit of tacky glue to put on. And of course it's too much glue because that's what I do. And then I just hold it in place for a little, just for a little bit to give it time to hold. And then I just cut that and then take it off. And then I have my little paper cupcake. And then what I did is I used, you know, I'll start, oh, no, here it is. So then I have these seed beads that are really little here. And then what I will do is I will put this in the middle of the cupcake to give it some weight. Because I you know, when I put the cupcakes on, I'd like it to like stand and not fall over. I'm sure you can do this same thing with just making, you know, making it with clay, which I did do with these. And this one has like the toothpick in the middle because I made it on the toothpick, and they do stand, so it does give it weight, but it does fall over pretty easily. And maybe these will too, I don't know. I was just experimenting. So I just put a little glue, the bottom to make it so that it'll have a bottom when I cut it out. And then I just stick the seed bead in the middle. And then that will have time to dry like I did with these. So these ones are dry and ready to go. ready for me to put clay on it. And so I had a few different tests. Like these ones I made out of air dry clay, and I made it on a toothpick. And then I took an actual, my dog chewed on this, so I'm not very happy. But then I went and rolled the air dry clay, or in this case, was it air dry clay? No, this was air dry clay. No, Model Magic, sorry. Because Model Magic seemed to work better for me than the air dry clay. I don't know why. But then I rolled it so I would have like the cupcake indents. And those were cute. And I used puffy paint to put on. And then I actually put on some of these faux sprinkles on the top. So that's how I made these. And then I decided to test it out on the second way I made them, where I did the puffy paint and then the sprinkles on. And then the last one I did with actual colored Model Magic, which was a light blue and a light red that I mixed. But I didn't think it was dark enough. I still like this darker color. So then I end up painting over, and I had already put in like the sprinkles on top, so it was embedded. But then I went ahead and painted over it, and then went back over it with some yellow paint for the sprinkles. And this one was the one I liked the most because it was much smaller, the sprinkles, than these ones that are really big, which I still think is cute. But anyway. And then I made these out of Model Magic as well. So I took 2 thin pieces of Model Magic, rolled it out very thin, and then twist them together so that I can make a Twizzler. And then I painted it red, and then I dipped it in white paint to represent like white chocolate. And these little beads on top represent Red Hots. Like I said, I really was thinking a lot like if I was actually going to make this in real life. I don't even know if this would actually taste good, if a Twizzler with white chocolate and Red Hots would taste good. But there's a part of me that wants to try it out. I would probably use regular chocolate because I'm not a big white chocolate, and then doing Red Hots, that would be fun. So anyway, that's what we got going on here. A lot of moving parts. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish painting. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to move this because that's drying. And I'm going to paint this white first, and then I'm going to go in and paint the red. And then I will just keep moving on. Like I need to make some of these cake pops. I need to make at least 2 more of these and make the tier, make the 3-tier tray for the table, which this is the table, if I didn't show you. So I made this table. It is not great. I'm not a big furniture making person, but I'm you know, learning still. And then because I wanted to keep the industrial look going on, I cut out a piece of cardboard that's the same size, and then I put over foil, glued it on, cut it out, so that way I could have a look without having to affect the table I made. And then this is creepy cloth that I'm going to put over the table to keep giving it that creepy horror aesthetic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break from here and come back before I start painting this, and then figure out how to set up everything so I can show you exactly what I'm doing, okay? Hello, so I wanted to show you a bit of the progress. So there was a lot of dry time, obviously, with all of the pieces. I have since added on these little, I'm calling cherry jello shots, and then I put a red faux confetti on top to make it look like a cherry. So those are going to be going on the second tier, because I've decided that the second tier, and then the bottom tier is going to have the cupcakes. I've also have the knife pops, cake pops, dipped in the red paint, which is drying. And I still need to paint the Twizzlers and dip them in white paint to look like white chocolate. And I need to paint the cake. So I'm going to do that right now just to show you the progress. And then after this, oh, I'm also going to paint the 3-tier dessert holder and then the other platter. So we're just going to go ahead and start doing that right now. Hello. So we are back to set up the horror dessert table, slasher movies. So I did record like painting and dipping these and finishing the cupcakes and the knife pops and drawing the Ghostface on the bundt cake. And a lot of it, my camera stopped recording, so I don't really know what I got. So I'm pretty sure it stopped when I was painting the licorice, the red vines. So now this is just going to be me setting up things. So I'm going to be starting with the 3-tier, which that also I don't think is on the video, where I painted this silver. I painted the other tray silver and added, you know, the puffy paint to the ends to make it look like blood. I did glue on one of the knife pops, which looks cute, and I'll be doing the rest of those. And then I made these little, they're like, they're going to be jello shots. So these would be, I would use cherry jello and then, you know, probably rum or some kind of alcohol, or you could do it without. But I, again, when I've explained in the other video that I would set these, I made everything with how I would actually make it in real life. I also had these 2 skulls that were color. They were different colors, so I painted them like an ivory color and then went over with a some watered down black paint, and I'm going to be adding those to the table. These are the Chucky cupcakes, the Jason mask that's going to go on the cake right here, which I've added also some puffy paint on to make it drippy. And I will be linking my video below to show how I made the video that I did to make the Jason mask. So now I just want to really set everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and time lapse the rest of this while you Okay, so it is all set up and I think it looks so creepy and cute, and I can't wait to take some pictures of all of this. As you can see, we have Micheal Myers knife pops, and that's why I got the pumpkin here. We got the Jason cake, Chucky cupcakes, Jello shots, a slice of that lovely red velvet cake from the Jason, our ghost bundt cake. We have our red vines dipped in white chocolate, topped with red hots, and then we have our skulls in the back. And to join in here is my little self that's loving it. Now, I made a little version of me out of Polly Pocket. This table is actually too small. She's small, like compared to the table. So I'm not sure what doll size would actually fit in here. But I just wanted to have my little self shrunk down because I would definitely be excited to have this party with my top 4 slasher movies. So I would be interested in knowing what your favorite slasher movie is. And if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, because I have noticed there's a lot of new subscribers, and thank you for clicking. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button and comment below. I will see you in the next video. Bye.